Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. I'm Alex McCarthy here at Memorial Stadium for the last time this year, where Indiana played one of the uglier, quite frankly, college football games that I've seen in a long time. But Indiana wins. That's, I guess, the most important thing for them. 26-24 to beat Purdue for the fourth time in a row. That's the first time Indiana's done that since the mid-1940s. And then this is also makes this is Indiana's sixth win of the season, which makes the bowl eligible for the second year in a row. First time that's happened since 1991. I guess we've kind of just been tweeting these things and saying them a lot, but yeah, just to drive that point home. I mean, it's Indiana did a lot of things this year that it hasn't done in a long time. This is only the fifth time ever that Indiana has beaten both Michigan State and Purdue in the same season to secure the spittoon and the bucket. So a lot of big accomplishments for Indiana this year. A couple individual things. Devine Redding broke 1,000 yards for the season this year. That's back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for him. First time that Indiana's had a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher since '91. Anyway, but with the game itself, it was just Indiana kind of kept shooting itself in the foot. I mean, threw 4 interceptions today. Richard Lego threw 3, even though he really only threw 2 because one was just a heave at the end of the first half. Zander Diamont threw 1. But Indiana kind of found a way to win later in the game. Its defense, basically, I mean, it's kind of the same script that Indiana's had for a lot of the years. The defense made up for the offense's shortcomings. And, Indiana did okay offensively. I mean, they outrushed Purdue by quite a bit, but still only ran for 152 yards on the ground. They held Purdue to 42 yards rushing, which is just another sign of just kind of progress for Indiana. They bounced back after allowing Michigan to really wear them down and run on them late in the game. And Indiana did kind of show signs of wearing down a little bit late in the game. I mean, Purdue, on its last drive of the game, drove pretty quickly. I mean, there was one crazy one-handed catch that a guy made on Purdue, but for the most part, Purdue was moving the ball pretty effectively and pretty consistently on that last drive. Gets down near Indiana's red zone. T. Scales makes a big sack on third down, which forces a 4th and long, I think 4th and 14. And Indiana got a little bit of pressure on David Blau on that last play, on Purdue's last play, and he kind of lost one into the end zone, and Jonathan Crawford is there waiting for the interception, and it was his second of the day. But yeah, and it was just, that play seemed to kind of sum up a lot of what Indiana's been trying to do on defense all year. Someone was saying after the game that Indiana, defensively the defense has kept them in it, and then late in the game they kind of wear down, they kind of let go. And it's what happened against Penn State, it's what happened against Michigan, where Indiana's in it, the defense is playing really well, and then they kind of let up a few plays, a few drives. This time, Indiana made the play it needed to make, made the couple plays at the end that it needed to make, sealed the win, and it sends Indiana bowling for the second year in a row. Mitchell Paige was saying after the game that someone asked him something about the defense kind of holding up the offense, and he was saying that's what's been going on all year. Is we've relied on them, and we've ridden them this far, and we're gonna take them into the bowl game. So another small note. I mean, Indiana's last drive, the drive that eventually kind of won the game for him, was really fueled by Redding, who we talked about a little bit, and by Zander Diamont as well. He played a huge part in this game. He ran for 42 yards, but negative 27 of that came on Indiana's last offensive play of the game, where Indiana was facing a 4th down with 11 seconds left, and instead of punting it because they thought that that Purdue's best chance of winning the game was on a blocked punt or punt return. So they decided to take a safety instead. Zander Diamont runs around a little bit and goes down the end zone with 1 second left. And then Indiana, on their free kick punt thing, squibbed it and was able to stop Purdue there. But Zander Diamont was explosive. He came through in some really big situations. One of his first plays was he came in for a 4th down and ran and converted it. He had a big 3rd down conversion, and then he ran for a touchdown as well, a 1-yard touchdown, or a short touchdown. But interestingly, before the game, he and his family participated in the senior day festivities, which is odd because Zander Diamont is a junior, a true junior, not even a redshirt junior. And then when Wilson was asked about it after the game, he said that Diamont came to him recently and said basically, with the beating that my body has taken and the way that I play, I think I'm probably just gonna be done from here on out. And he said that Diamont said after the game that he's had issues with concussions dating back to high school, and just he realizes that he's not an NFL player, that he's not going to play professionally, and that his livelihood is going to depend much more on his brain than on his football ability. So this was Zander Diamont's last home game as a Hoosier, and the bowl game, wherever it is, will be probably his last football game ever. So Indiana fans are losing probably one of their favorite players, or at least one of the more entertaining players. Love him or hate him, he gets people going. So that was one of the big things after the game. But just in general, this is a game that was pretty ugly, but a game that ends up being pretty important for Indiana, and it just kind of further asserts their dominance in the state in terms of them versus Purdue, and it sends them to a bowl game. Where that bowl game will be, we won't know for another week, because everything depends on the conference championship games and just how everything kind of stacks out from the top, from who gets into the playoff, who gets into the New Year's Six bowls, who gets into the Rose Bowl, blah, 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 whatever. So we will know much more about that next week, depending on what Wisconsin does, what Penn State does, everything like that. So it looks like it will either be in the Foster Farms Bowl in Santa Clara or the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. So yeah, it's kind of going to be tough to plan for either, to try and plan for both of those until Indiana hears for sure. So we'll have full coverage of that. We'll be back at it tomorrow as Indiana basketball right across the parking lot plays Mississippi Valley State. So I'm going to get to bed and rest up for that. But for now, thanks again for watching. We will have I guess we'll have one more Inside Indiana Overtime in about a month after a bowl game. So excited for that. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon, and have a good rest of your Saturday night.